What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. I am Sean Woodland, joined as always by Lauren Khalil. Lauren, how are you?
I am fantastic. Happy to be here, guys.
Happy to have you. And featuring Tommy Marquez. Tommy, what's up?
Not much, man. Coming off a great Masters weekend.
Ah,
Lakers are in the playoffs. Cowboys haven't botched their draft yet, so
it hasn't started.
exactly.
That's like when your team has a bye week, like, oh, didn't lose this weekend, So
Mhm.
everything's good. Yep. NBA playoffs are starting. Stanley Cup playoffs are right around the corner. That's like the best
Oh
postseason in
yeah.
the world. So,
I think the
or,
Stanley Cup first round is the best, one of the
oh,
best
Stanley Cup
pieces of
playoffs.
playoffs.
It's It is night and day. Like if you watch regular season hockey and you get used to 82 games of that, and then you watch the first playoff game, just the jump in intensity,
Mhm.
Ron Burgundy, that escalated. So, well, we have a lot to talk about today. We're going to get through some headlines and then our two big things that we want to discuss. First, Tia Toomey. I'm probably not the guy to say this.
I was gonna I was
Don't
gonna
say
say
it.
I
Use
actually
your
had a
words wisely.
yeah, looks like she's going to call it quits.
I
Well,
was
well,
I
Leaving
originally
you know,
I originally had a note, jump in and say it before Sean does to
yeah, no,
protect him.
so
Sean
not,
must be protected today at all
yeah,
costs.
Uh,
not gonna
No
work here
deja
anymore.
vu.
And then also we're gonna talk about the conclusion of the age group online qualifier. What went right and what went wrong.
Mhm.
But before we do that, we want to thank our sponsor for today, and that is Creatures of Habit. Some of
Mm.
the best high protein instant overnight superfood meals that you will ever have to get you to win your day. Creatures of Habit is absolutely phenomenal. And you can go to creaturesofhabit.com, and that's creatures with a K. And you can get their overnight oats, or these great packs of oats and just protein and all kinds of goodness, gluten and glyphosate free, 30 grams of plant based protein, gut healthy pre and probiotics, vitamin D3 and omega 3s, chia, flax, and pumpkin seeds. And guess what? No added sugar, and they still taste delicious. So
Did
check them
we
out.
all go for the
Mm.
maple
Oh
flavor,
yeah,
all
maple
3 of
flavor
us?
is phenomenal, and the banana peanut butter is really good as well too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that
The
one.
peanut butter banana one's awesome. But this is like I love this stuff, especially when I work out early in the morning, because it is literally
Yeah.
pour it in the cup, put some water in overnight. You just put it in the fridge. You wake up the next morning, bam, you're ready to go. And you can dress it up. You can put other stuff in it, but it's a phenomenal meal. You get 30 grams of protein. You get some good energy to get you throughout the day. It's a great snack in the afternoon as well. When you're like me and you hit those afternoon doldrums, get yourself some Creatures of Habit. Check it out. So go to
Oof.
creaturesofhabit.com. That's creatures with a K, and use the code TEF, and you will save 20%. And if you follow us on social media, Tommy one time did a speed run through Creatures of Habit. It took him less than a minute to prepare this stuff
I
for the
think
next.
I can go faster.
I think you can too.
Yeah.
I think
Got
you can.
long arms too that you
Yeah.
can get all the
I might try to
things.
do one while Miles is strapped to my chest.
That would be, that to me would be more impressive, even if you went a little more slowly, because that's like a real world situation right there.
Mhm.
Relating to all the parents out there.
Yes. Okay. Creaturesofhabit.com. Love those guys. They make a fantastic product. So check them out. And you will be happy that you did, because their meals are awesome. And check out the variety. They have like a lot of new flavors too that I was seeing. So
Mhm.
if you're not a maple person, first of all, how dare you, and who do you think you are?
Exactly.
But you can still,
It's so good.
yeah,
It is
it's
so
phenomenal.
good. It's my
The apple
favorite.
cinnamon looks tasty. I haven't tried
Yes.
that one yet.
All
Yeah.
right.
Mm.
Well, let's talk about just get through the headlines here. Some things that are out there in the space. First being that we have a new apparel and footwear partner of the CrossFit Games, and that's Velitas. Is that how you pronounce that? Am I saying that correctly? If I can read
Velites?
the card here, hails from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Yeah, I don't know. Velitas, is that how you say it?
You have Velitas?
It's a Spanish company, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it
Uh,
is. Yes.
okay. Good to know. Uh, okay, and Tommy, you have what you call the reactometer.
Mm-hmm.
Where's on a scale of I don't know how high does the reactometer go as
Well,
far
the
as
reactometer goes to good, bad, weird, or meh.
okay, so
Is the
good is the
reactometer.
highest. All right, so
Good is
so
the
it goes
highest.
good. So it goes good, then bad, then weird. Good,
Yeah.
weird,
Weird is worse than bad.
good, weird, meh, bad.
Meh. Yeah. Yeah. Because
Right?
weird and
Good,
meh
bad.
are on the same side of like, kind of not sure. Good and bad is
Okay.
very black and white,
Sure. Okay.
Don't,
Yeah,
I didn't,
I f
don't blame me. Blame the
the
reactometer.
reactometer is what it is. What was
So what's your
okay,
reacto?
so what were you both of you, what were your reactions when you saw this?
Go ahead,
I was
Tommy,
a,
you first.
I was a meh, honestly. It, it's, It was a meh, and then kind of like actually, I should add a sad on there
Why?
because I was honestly sad that, like, the announcement of a new, like, quote, unquote, "apparel and footwear sponsor," like, didn't move the needle more. Like, the fact that it's gotten to meh, you know?
Mhm.
Mm.
It's like, I don't know. Like, when you go back to your old haunts and they don't hit the same, you're like, "Oh, damn, that
Yeah, that's
sucks."
true.
You know?
Well,
When you grow up and you realize Chuck E. Cheese is really only like
hey,
only like 1,400 square feet tops, and
I
you
will
thought it
not
was the biggest place ever.
I will not accept any Chuck E. Cheese slander on this
I
podcast.
won't.
It is where a kid can be a kid. Darn you.
Look, it Charles Entertainment Cheddar is my boy,
Mhm.
you know?
He's now a mouse, by the way. He's not the recovering alcoholic rat that I had when I was a kid, you know?
Yeah, yeah, our Chuck E. Our Chuck E. Cheese has been through some
He'd seen some stuff, you know?
he yeah, he'd
Um,
been through some programs for
he
sure.
was I wouldn't be surprised that if, like, that Krusty the Clown was based loosely on Chuck E. Cheese, like, that's how I imagine Chuck E. Cheese's life. Like, he's got a gambling problem and, bet on the Generals when he thought they were due against the
I
Globetrotters,
thought
stuff
they
like
were
that, yeah.
due. It's all spinning on his finger, just take it.
Just take it. Lauren, where are you on the reactometer?
Honestly, I feel like I've gone through almost all of these emotions because the first one was weird because they had already announced that they were the jump rope and grip
Mhm.
sponsor. So I think it's weird to then later say, "Oh, by the way, they're also going to be the apparel and footwear." Like to me, that would be something that you would lead with, and then the equipment would be under that umbrella. So I thought it was weird that it was almost in reverse order. But then I went to, this could be a play if CrossFit is planning to host the games outside of the US, potentially in
Mm.
Europe in the next couple of years, to
Right.
start reaching out and building relationships with brands outside of the US. So it could then potentially be a good thing for the growth and relationship building outside of just the States.
Alright.
Which
That's
is
an
interesting.
optimistic way of looking at it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's interesting because, like, Northern Spirit, who basically stepped in and saved semifinals last year,
Yeah.
is a Europe-based company, and, like, it like, my understanding is that, like, CrossFit wasn't that interested in, like, kind of re-upping that or at least not having them a part of, like, the main partners at anywhere on the website seems crazy to me. And maybe Northern Spirit
Uh,
walked away, but
Because
I don't know.
Northern Spirit did something with Mayhem Classic specifically,
Mhm.
right?
they
Yeah.
yes.
They might go to the event specifically, that could be true.
Yeah. So who knows whose decision it was, whether like CrossFit didn't ask them back or Northern Spirit decided they wanted to go into a different direction. Um,
I I
yeah,
think
I'm unsure.
I think, like, you kinda tickled a thought there, like, with it being weird because ultimately, like you said, wouldn't you lead with that unless it got to the point where, like, CrossFit overplayed their hand and no one really came to the table, and so now that we're about to get to semifinals and games qualifying and part of the season, including 3 of the live event activations and the open announcements are gone, they're probably like, "Hey, interested in doing more than just grips and jump rope? We'll throw you a
Yeah.
bone here," you know?
Well,
It's
because we know of a US brand that they were in talks with back in January that they wanted as the apparel sponsor, and that, organization declined. So maybe
Mhm.
they were CrossFit was in talks with multiple brands, and since maybe they already had this partnership and a relationship, it seemed like, "Oh, well, we'll just offer you a bigger piece of the pie." So, yeah, that's a good point.
it's po yeah, it's possible. It just something feels weird about it. Like, now I think I might move my reactometer to weird because
Hmm.
announcing at this point in time, given, like you said, that they were already a partner, and now that this is what, the 3rd is this the 3rd, apparel and footwear sponsor in 3 years for them? It's it
No.
also
Yeah.
Yeah, because GoRuck was 1 year.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot Go Ruck was.
Yeah.
You're right.
So now it's like, I guess this is where it kinda tiptoes into even more tinfoil hat weird. It's like, how many more brands are there that could potentially step up to the plate? And on the flip side of that is, like, you feel like, hats off to Velides because it's a great opportunity for them,
Mm.
as a
Yeah.
European-based brand that's trying to get a little bit more global reach. Hopefully, this could be something if CrossFit's actually able to make good on their partnership, which has been a problem for other brands in the past. That I know that's some of the complaints that a lot of the primary partners for the games basically laid down as a reason why they're not coming back is that CrossFit didn't hold up their end of the bargain and wasn't able to activate on the contract accordingly.
Mhm.
Hopefully, they're able to do it and they get their act together, and this could be like a huge windfall for them, you know?
Yeah.
Look, anybody who wants to support the sport, I'm all for.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
great. And I agree with you. Good opportunity for them to get their name out there. Um, I think the shoe thing to me is not that big of a deal because of the rules of the games where people can wear whatever they want. So
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
the apparel thing is good. That will definitely help them move some shorts and shirts and things like that, especially if you can still do like the replica jersey or I don't know that Noble used to do, which I thought was a great idea. But to me, this I think most of these things, and maybe it's just because I'm older and jaded now, I don't know, are going to land mostly in the meh category until we get somebody from outside of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Mm,
Because that's when someone thinks, hey, this has got some it's got some potential. I think we can grow with this. Is with what Reebok saw in 2011. And I
Yeah.
remember that article back in 2010. I think it was in Sports Business magazine, or it was some trade publication about how this is a really cool thing. Someone should take a look at it. And Reebok jumped in and had that long partnership and really helped grow the sport. And they had their hands in so many other stuff. To me, that is going to move it from meta. Hey, this is really good. We got someone from outside the ecosystem that didn't grow up in CrossFit that is now just sponsoring the games. It's from somebody outside. But again,
I wonder if Adidas would come to the table with, like, them recently signing a ton of athletes in CrossFit.
I mean, maybe,
Mm.
but I think for a brand like for like a really heavy hitting brand to come to the table, there are two things I think need to happen. First, they have to look at this as that this is a big growth opportunity for us, and then second, there's got to be some sort of exclusivity. They're not
Mhm.
mhm.
going to sponsor it, especially on the shoe side, if not every athlete out there on the floor is wearing their stuff, because a brand that
Yeah.
doesn't need they don't need the name recognition. They want their stuff on everybody.
Yeah.
So, but hey, glad that we're getting partners and stuff for the games. That's a good thing. Keeps things going. So good luck to the leaders. I hope it works out for them. Hope they sell a lot of good stuff too. That's always the thing. Like if someone makes a good pair of shorts, I'll buy it.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Those good, comfortable pair of workout shorts, I'm in. Sign me up.
Leggings that stay up.
Mm,
I'll
yeah.
spend all my money there.
Yes. Okay. So do we have any other headlines that we want to talk about before we get into our two?
Copasaur is taking place this
That's right.
weekend.
Live action does continue this weekend.
Mhm.
The semifinals. Copasaur in Brazil. Is that where we're having it this time?
It is 4 spots up for grabs, 2 men, 2 women. Very different landscape, I think, competitively for this event than it has been. No gi,
Uh-huh.
obviously, and I'm
Mm.
not talking about jujitsu. The I mean, arguably the most exciting athlete to ever come out of that region is not competing. He's focused on the World Fitness Project.
Mhm.
Um, the female qualifiers, essentially like the women that have kind of held it down for the last few years. You look at um, Julia Cato, uh, Victoria Campos, Alexia Williams qualified 1 year, Sasha Nievas qualified 1 year, like even Laurie Kuna before she had the test, the failed test. But those were kind of like the mainstays there, and none of them are going to be there this weekend.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
you're guaranteed to have at least one rookie there. There are some women there that like have kind of been knocking on the door for a little while, like Loiza Marquez, former teenage athlete, has been kind of consistently in that like 4 to 7 range at that semifinal.
Mhm.
Um, so there is some good opportunity there, but it's just going to be different, I think. And for a region that has so much passion, it's kind of
Yeah.
sad that like the people that have kind of carried the torch for a little while aren't going to be there.
But they'll still, I mean, you know that, for you and I were there in
Yeah.
2018. That crowd is going to show up, and they're
Yeah.
going to support their athletes, and it probably is going to be a great environment. It always is down there. So it's going to be cool to
Yep.
see some new people maybe get a chance here that we haven't seen before. So thank you for
For
that
sure.
summary.
Yeah.
You want let's start with Tia, because I feel like the review thing might be a larger conversation.
Hmm.
So for those of you that don't know, Tia
I live
Toomey,
under a rock.
yeah, Tia
Sorry.
Toomey went on social media and essentially said that she is going to compete at the Torian Pro, but that is her chance to say goodbye. And on the Proven podcast, this is a quote.
Mm-hmm.
She said, quote, "The CrossFit season was all online." And I was like not happy. I'm all about competing in person as opposed to competing, in behind closed doors. As soon as that kind of came out, I was like, all right, I'm doing high rocks. End quote. Let's make the assumption that this is going to be it. I think it makes sense for her to kind of go out on her home turf, say goodbye there. Uh, I still think it is a very realistic possibility that she qualifies for the games just because she's Tia. What'd you think when you heard this?
Um,
I don't know if I want to say reactometer, but I mean, like,
yeah. I
I
think
guess your reactometer was
this
criteria.
is more elevated
Yeah.
conversation than the reactometer.
Mhm.
Uh, I would say my initial gut felt like it was someone that wants to retire but is afraid to,
I can see that.
or is afraid to like finally like put the heel down. Um, and I
Well, yeah,
think
she
maybe
leaves the
because
door open in the podcast, like very, very much so. It's not one way or another.
well, it's also like it's like you think about some of the all-time greats, right? And like how it is in their nature to just like keep going, right? Like Michael Jordan, Wizards Michael Jordan, like still trying to put up 50 when he's, for even though it wasn't the same Jordan that we're used to in the Bulls. But I think the competitive nature that and the competitive spirit that like lives inside of her makes it probably very difficult to be like, I'm stepping away from this, especially from this this season and this sport that has you know really kind of given her the platform that she has now, and she's done great things with it and is continuing to build stuff behind the Proven brand. And she's also, diving into high rocks. But it felt like she kept getting so close to just saying, like, I'm not doing the games. I'm retiring from CrossFit and I'm going to focus on high rocks. Like, to me, everything pointed that direction, absent of her just coming outright and saying it. And I
Mhm.
feel like that's always just like that little bit of well, maybe, and it's the same thing. Like if Tiger Woods walked out to the Masters
Oh
this
yeah.
past year, all of
Give
us
it a
would have
thought.
been like,
Yeah.
well, maybe, like maybe there's a chance. And
Yeah.
that's honestly what it feels like. And to everything about her training and what she's done points towards her focusing on high rocks and not doing the games. But at the same time, maybe, uh,
Maybe.
yeah, that's really what my gut told me. It's like she's done with CrossFit, but she's maybe a little nervous to commit to that.
Mm.
Okay. Lauren, what'd you think?
I mean, if you follow her on social media, I don't think that this is a huge shock. Whether that first doubles, I think the first one she did was with James Newberry,
Mhm.
and whether that was something that was supposed to be for fun or whether they were taking it seriously, I think after that is when it might have been apparent that eh, for her, there's more opportunity here right now. So I'm going to lean into that because that's where I see the most growth, even with Proven adding a high rocks track and getting more people from the camp to go do high rocks and the reach that they can get with more people inside the affiliate and sponsorship opportunities and earning potential and all of these things that I think as a businesswoman, it certainly makes a lot of sense. But then outside of being a business person, kind of Tommy, as you alluded to, the legacy that she's left in the CrossFit space, it's hard to then close that chapter, especially if you feel like there's a possibility. There's still a
Yeah.
possibility on the table. Like if she gets done with the High Rocks World Championship and then, the CrossFit Games are, I think she said 45 days later, in my head, I'm just trying to think of realistically, yes, her training is going to change, but where would she have gaps in her fitness other than sure like the strength that really wouldn't still make her a threat for the top of the podium? And that's a question. I don't know if she wants to take that risk, but as a fan, I want to see if Tia Claire Toomey specifically trains for High Rocks and not the CrossFit Games, can she still win?
Yes.
I
Yeah.
wanna see
I
that,
don't
and
think
I
she's
wanna see
I
the
mean,
head-to-head battle with her and Laura that we never got to see
that ain't gonna happen.
after. You what?
That's not happening this year.
Yeah. Laura's not doing the game season.
So that's the thing.
Oh,
So
I forgot
so
about that, you're
I'm
right.
I'm with you, is like, if she goes and cleans up at the Torian Pro, which odds are she will,
Yeah.
okay, bye. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Um, Qualifies for the games, competes in the High Rocks World Championships, will still be training. She You would be stupid to underestimate her with
Yeah.
that training regimen showing up in Albany to not be like, she could win. I think that's a very realistic possibility. And I'm with Tom. I agree with you, Tommy. Like, it's as long as that possibility is there, I think she's going to leave that door cracked.
I also think she's a competition opportunist, right? Like I
Sure.
think
I mean,
she
like, where am I
crave.
getting a bunch of money? There's
I also,
nothing wrong with that.
yeah. It's also
No,
like
no.
You know,
it's also like, yeah, like obviously the money is a big deal, but also like she's like gone into bobsledding. She's
Mhm.
weightlifting. It's like she just seems someone that like genuinely thrives on competing too. So if it's like you get after, say she goes to High Rocks, right? I potentially the result of that could really dictate it,
Mm.
especially because they're going to be so close together. I don't know if she'll have to have an answer by then, but if she goes to High Rocks and they win the world championships and they blow the field away, and she's like, oh, well, I guess I'm already good at that, you know, and she looks at CrossFit and she's like, well, maybe one more opportunity for this, and I still feel pretty good.
Why
Am
not?
I gonna do this? And you look at like, all right, well, in the last year, I won the games, I won the Rogue Invitational, so it's not like she was falling off.
Yeah.
Well, no,
It'd
in
be
the same way that
And dominated the Rogue
yeah,
Invitation.
and sure, she's gone out and won all of these major CrossFit competitions, but almost the same way that people look at a grand slam, reference to Sunday. Maybe
hmm
this is her new grand slam is she wins High Rocks World Championship, she wins the CrossFit Games. Who knows what? Like maybe she goes out and does another weightlifting meet or something. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
maybe she has the potential to change the conversation of what it's like to have your own version of a grand slam in several different fitness capacities, which would
And
be
I
really cool.
and it would also be kind of interesting from a hierarchy of sports standpoint because I think the conversation has always been if you become elite at CrossFit, there's a lot of carryover for it trickling into other sports, right?
Mhm.
Now, Tia obviously has just a massive base in the sport of fitness and CrossFit, right? but she has focused heavily on high rocks. Is the carryover of that Venn diagram strong enough to where she can do that and still turn back and go to CrossFit? Because I think we tend to think it's the channel only operates one way,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
Um, and not everyone maybe thinks that, but I think CrossFitters in their own kind of bubble of thinking sometimes has been like, oh, I've become really good at all these different skills. Now I can go, apply some sport specific training to something else and it'll carry over.
Mhm.
Could be the first time where we see someone, and granted, she already had the history of being a champion in that sport before, but really focus on one sport, find success in it, even though it's kind of adjacent, and then come back to it. And I think that would be cool too.
Yeah. I look, I just think competitors compete, especially when you're at the top of your game. And Tommy, you mentioned Michael Jordan. Whatever Michael Jordan did, he competed at it and he wanted to be the best. Whether it's like he loses in ping pong, he goes home, buys a ping pong table, practices until he can dominate everybody on the team, and then wins that. I think Tia's just wired the same way. It's like, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to dominate it. Okay. New challenge. Go over here. I want to dominate that. Okay. Whether it's a business, I'm going to go dominate my business life, whatever it is, like she's not going to half ass it. Sh-
No.
Never half-ass two things,
and
whole-ass one thing.
exactly. But while she is whole assing high rocks, she is still going to be, relatively well prepared for the CrossFit Games, and you're telling me that in a month she can't get ready for that? Come on.
Yeah.
She can probably still do pretty well. But I guess the question now becomes, given where the sport is, and I mean, I think this is an easy question, but I still want to ask it. Do we ever see, is there another Tia out there? Is there someone else out there who could be the next person? And I mean, I just don't think there is right now. Because I think all the heir apparents in the past, you go back to when Annie Thorisdottir was doing her thing. We knew Sam Briggs was out there. And then Katrin, I think, was the last sort of woman to come out of nowhere to win it, who wasn't expected. But from then on, you always saw the next person coming. You knew Tia was going to arrive one day.
Yeah.
You saw that next person, even with the men. There was that 1 year gap between Rich and
Matt.
Fraser because you had Ben Smith in there. But you knew like Matt Fraser was going to be that guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that on the women's side.
Let me ask you this. When Tia finished second 2 times in a row at the games, did you feel like she was ready to, like, go on a run like this?
No, I mean, I don't think anybody thought she'd go on a run like this, but I thought she was ready to win. And the reason I thought that
Yeah.
is because the gap was getting smaller and it was clear she was getting better. And not to take anything away from what Katrin or Sarah Sigmund's daughter had been doing at that time, but like they were not like they were at their ceiling, I think. They were pretty
Yeah.
much the best versions of themselves that they were going to be.
Yeah.
Whereas Tia still had room to grow. And then once she won that first one, as close as it was, I mean, after that, that gap just kept growing. Like it just became
Yeah.
and I don't know who else could be that. I mean, maybe Laura, but I don't know what her future on at least for the CrossFit game side of things
Mhm.
is right now.
Well, it's also, like, I think a lot of us maybe assume that's where someone like Mal might have fit in,
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
and, obviously, like, she has taken a different path, and, like, even someone like Emma Lawson a couple years like, a
Mhm.
year after, you're like, "Oh, maybe that's it." And I think the deviations from that, like, anointing of the next kind of quote unquote one, um, kind of brings into perspective how lucky we've been to have like sustained greatness at multiple levels for both men and women. Because it's like more often than not, sports don't work like that. Like there's a reason why like a handful of dynasties exist in sports, and that's about it.
Yes.
Like at least to the magnitude where we're talking like 3-4 titles in a row.
Mhm.
Like that just doesn't happen in modern sports really much like anymore. And even if you have sustained greatness like the Chiefs or the Pats or even the 90s and 2000s Lakers, like it gets busted up somehow.
Yeah.
Uh,
Father Time is biology is just undefeated. You just can't perform at that level. And I think that's what's so incredible about what
mhm.
Mhm.
he has done,
Yeah.
just has not missed a beat at all, had a kid, came back and won. It's like, all right.
And,
Like what else,
and typic-
what more does she have to prove? It's like, I think the worry for her, and again, I think if she shows up, she's probably the favorite at the games just because of who she is. But I think the fear for her would be, what if I go and I don't win? You know,
Yeah, that would
like, does that
suck.
really
No,
light the
yeah.
fire again? Like, is she like, no, I'm all in. I'm not going out like that. Like, I don't think she shows up to Albany if she's not relatively certain she can win.
yeah. Do you think and had the tone of last year's games, the circumstances of last year's games been different,
Mm.
she would have already retired by now.
Yes. I think if she had a chance to
Yeah.
beat everybody who was supposed to be there at their best, I think there's a good chance that would have already had happened. Yes, I think that's a really good question.
Mm.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, because when you talk about like, especially some of the highest like level of legacies from athletes left, the ones that really do stand out are the ones that were able to go out on top. Like, I don't like I don't consider John Elway on my Mount Rushmore of like quarterbacks,
no.
but I know how he went out because he went out with back to
Yes,
back Super Bowls.
exactly. He said, "That's it. I'm
So,
done. See ya."
so finishing on the high note does resonate at a different frequency, I think, and at the end.
Here's another question that was asked to me, and I'm not going to tell you who answered it. I don't want to throw this person under the bus, but it's a really good question, and I had to think.
Mm.
And the question was, do you think it was worth her coming back after having a kid? Like, had she just stopped at 6? Like, do you think anything changed? Like, was that worth it
Yeah, because then that proves like even
for
more
her
of her
legacy?
dominance that she can birth a human and then come back and win with incredible
Like,
margins. I
did
think
that
that
change your perception of her?
what was that?
Did that the fact that she came back change the perception for you of her?
No, I already knew that she was the best. I already knew she was
Yeah.
dominant, but
Like, what more did she prove?
that was really like implanting the like if anybody had any doubt, like you can't anymore.
All right.
Not that I ever had the
I think I
doubt.
just look at that, that it was like Tommy said, everything was right that year with the games. Everything was great. Like, going out on that 6 in a row, like, okay, you're the best ever. And then she comes
Mhm.
to back and takes a year off, wins 7.
Yeah, I do think so. For one, I agree with Lauren that I think it was worth it. I
Okay.
think there's elements of it was worth it financially. It was probably worth it for her own mental to know like, hey, that like I can do this. I can start my family and still pursue like the aspects of me being an athlete even after that. Like that,
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be you have kids, your career's over kind of thing on the athletic side. So I do think while it may not have changed my perception of her as the greatest, it it added another layer of depth and complexity as to why she was the greatest, if
Okay.
that makes sense.
I
So
agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
like if yeah, like her greatest of all time tool belt added another jewel to it, or
Yeah.
you
All
know,
right.
Little sparkle.
Now you're just
yeah,
showing off. But
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Well, either way it works out. Congratulations to Tia on a fantastic career. It's been, it's been an absolute just honor to be kind of
Oh,
part of that. And I will never, and she tells this story a lot, and and every time we have her on or I talk to her, the story always comes up. I'll never forget in 2015 when we're in Southern California, and we used to do this thing at the Marriott Hotel for the show, the meet, like the broadcast. We would bring every athlete in. They would take pictures in their uniform. We would take some video of them, and we would run them through just a basic interview because we might need some sound from them to run during the broadcast in case this person starts doing well. And we had a list of athletes, like, you knew the people you needed to get, because it's like they're favorites. We got to talk more to them. And then there's others you just bring through and you have them say their bit, you get them out. You at least have something in the event they do well. And Tia comes walking in, and I had never met her before.
What
And
year was this?
2015, her rookie year.
Oh, okay.
And she's kind of timid and, doesn't, kind of wide eyed and looking at what's going on. And we had this list of things we're going to ask him. And the final one is, I want you to look in the camera and say, my name is Tia Toomey and I'm the fittest on earth. And I was the one doing the interview and she was really nervous. I said, what's your favorite movement? She's like, I go, what's your least favorite movement? She says, thruster. I go, what's your favorite movement? She goes, cluster. I'm like, all right, same thing. But she was so like, to see the transformation from that sort of timid, wide-eyed rookie to the just dominant force that she became was, I don't want to say funny, but it's crazy. You don't really see that extreme of a transformation in an athlete's career.
Yeah.
I remember going, okay, look at the camera and say, I'm Tia Toomey and I'm the fittest on earth. And in my head, I'm thinking, because that's, probably the only time we're going to say it. And little did I know, and listen, that is what that first year, I'll never forget cutting the post shows. We had like no footage of her because no one thought she was going to stay there.
Yeah.
That makes it even cooler though.
It was great. And I laugh about it now because how just stupid. No one saw that coming. But it was,
I mean, she BKG'd us that time.
100%.
Like before that was before BKG and someone was an actionable verb.
Yeah.
That's what she did, because I mean, you go across her finishes across the board. I don't think she had a single top 3 finish that entire weekend, if I remember correctly. No, her best finish was she had 2 4th place finishes.
Yeah.
Otherwise it was like 6th and 7th and 8th and 10th.
She was
So
right
at no point was she ever one of the first 3 athletes to cross the finish line.
Yep.
And then after that, your feelers start to go down a little bit, and it's it's
I remember cutting those
bad
posts
on us.
and Joe Novello, our coordinating producer at the time, who oversaw all this stuff when we were editing these shows, we got to find some stuff at Tia. We don't have anything at Tia. What are we going to do? So we had to get her in there somehow.
And to piggyback off your story, I remember we did an interview with her in the gym at the old HQ gym. Her, and she was working with Chris Hinshaw at the time. So her and Hinshaw came out, and we were chatting, and I sat down to do the interview with her. And I kind of, in the lead up to it, was kind of pressing her on like her goals, right? And she kept dancing around the fact that she would never commit to say like, I want to win the CrossFit Games.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember what it was, but I had Hinshaw in my peripheral, and we're getting part of that interview, and I'm like, Tia, you've given me a lot of like kind of vague answers. Like, what is your goal? Like, when it comes to the games, do you want to win the CrossFit Games? And she stopped, and then she finally said, and Hinshaw came up to me afterwards, and she said it, and he goes, and I see his face go like light up, and he was almost giddy. And we get done, and he goes, bro, do you know she's never said that statement? I'm like, what? And he goes, she has never overtly said, I want to win the CrossFit Games.
Oh, that's
it was like a mental block for her, because it was like when she put it out there, it became real that the failure of not doing that was a possibility. And now like you said, that transformation, unreal.
I don't know in my whole life if I've ever seen someone change that drastically in a matter of not even 4 years.
I mean, go back to 2016 documentary, The Fittest on Earth, a Decade of Fitness. Watch the behind the scenes interview with her and I believe Mariah and one other person, as they're walking around the StubHub Center before the final event. And tell me that is even remotely the same athlete that we have now, from a mindset and self-doubt and self-belief. She's she's in contention to win the games, and there's still an event left, and you would think that she was 100 points behind.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like create like that mental transformation alone is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see the journey for sure.
Congratulations to Tia Toomey on a great CrossFit career, we think.
Way to save yourself, Sean.
I'm fully committing to that.
Yeah. And for possibly the last time.